Coach Derek Sewell, West End Patriots coach, if you would, some opening comments, let the young men introduce themselves. And guys, if you would pull the microphone and kind of get into the microphone, that would help us all. And if y'all would just introduce yourselves, and then Coach, some opening comments, and then we'll pass around the microphone for our guys.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Kane.
My name is Kane Lawson.
My name is Rocco, and I'm a running back.
My name is Tristan, and I'm a receiver.
All right, thank you guys for doing this. This is it's a really cool thing I think we put on for the kids, and I think it's good to get exposure for not just our area, but for a game that seems to be getting harder and harder to get people to commit to. On opening comments, we've had a really good summer. Really, actually, our biggest challenge to these guys after the season we had last year was once January got here, it was, we were done with that. And these guys have worked hard. These are three of our leaders right here. We've worked hard, January through up till now. The biggest thing that I think we've all learned is that with success, everything becomes harder. So I've challenged these guys and the team to elevate their game, elevate the way they work. And sometimes through elevation, you lose people. So, these guys have really had to grind out watching people leave them because this game we play is hard, and hard is not always an attractive thing these days. So I'm super proud of this team and these three that represent them because we've put them through it. We've tried to elevate and make things hard as we could on them. And we're just excited to see now them to get to go out and see the results of the hard work that they put in.
Coach, I know you had a big senior class last year. Talk about how many returning players you've got, maybe starters on offense and defense this year, and how many do you have on the varsity program right now?
So right now we've got, when we dress a few 8th graders, we'll be right at 30. We've lost, actually graduations hit us hard the last 2 years. We lost 11 my first year and 13 this past year. But on the defensive side of the ball, we'll return, I believe it's 6 guys. So we'll have a good staple there on defense. Offensively, we'll be breaking in a new quarterback. We'll only have 2 up front that are returners. Now, of course, these 3 will return, so we'll have 5 or 6 on the offense. But the biggest thing that we're trying to develop, I said last year we were trying to have depth up front, an offensive line that's separate from the defensive line. And we were able to do that for most part last year, but I think this time we're maybe going to be a little better set to have that depth to where we can have an offensive line and a defensive line and keep guys fresh. But yeah, we've got about 5 or 6 return on each side of the ball. And the biggest thing with these low numbers will be, can we stay healthy? And everybody that's going to come up here today is going to say that. I mean, we're all just a turned ankle away from, on a Wednesday, from Friday going a lot different than it should have went. So, that's going to be crucial, is taking care of our bodies. And then us as coaches managing their reps through the week, taking care of them, and just making sure that we can go into every Friday as healthy as can be.
This is for all 4 of you. What have you seen mostly the growth from the end of last year to now? What is the biggest change you've seen from the team?
You go.
Definitely we're really coming together because with losing so many, you got to have that bond to be able to be a strong team. So small group, you know each other more, so you kind of get to know each other a lot more, and you play a lot better that way.
Yeah, I think we got a smaller group, but the guys we got, we know are going to give 100% and really give their all, so it's good.
Yeah, I agree with Tristan. We just have to have a bond, even though we're low in numbers. We have multiple players playing both ways, but other than that, we just got to play together as a team.
And I would say that would be the biggest part of the growth from last year to this year is, from a coaching standpoint, is trying to get them to understand again that they've got to elevate the way they think, the way they speak, the way they act, the way they attack everything, if we want to have continued success. We're happy that there was a 7-3 season and a playoff appearance. But if any of the 30 are satisfied with that, then we're in trouble. Because I think when people get satisfied with average, then you begin to go backwards. So that's been the biggest growth. And I think I see that in a majority of our guys, that they do have a desire to move forward, to take that next step, to be, at the very least, a consistent contender in a tough fight on every Friday night.
Coach, we ask this every year. Speaking of the guys, you want to keep them fresh, especially for later in the season. You have a idea about, I know it's going to work itself out over the next few weeks, but how many guys you expect to play just one way this year?
The numbers we have they're a little bit unique in that while the overall number may not look large, we've got kind of the right people in the right places. So and like with these two, both play running back, both are, you could classify as athlete on offense, being able to move around, both play outside linebacker for us. We've got some younger guys that are going to be able to spill them in moments. So we may be able to rest a couple of series on defense, or it may be that we can interchange at running back some. And we've picked up in the secondary, if like Tristan plays corner for us, he usually is on an island by himself, but we've got some other guys. So while they may be still starting both ways and playing both ways a lot, we're going to be able to rest them in different places. Now, these three know as well as everybody else that wears a number below 50, they're not going to get as much rest. We're really prioritizing the rest for those guys that are up there in the trenches, and which in turn will make things a lot better for them.
Coach, give us an idea about your region this year and what you expect out of the region as a whole.
I think the region will be tough. It'll be very competitive. If somebody asked me today to pick my favorite, I think you got to look at Locust Fork and say, even though they didn't win the region, they're probably returning the most, and that's probably who we're all chasing. Sometimes I get in the habit of being a self-deprecating guy, and I probably don't give my team enough. I think we're going to be able to battle for that spot, for that top spot in the region. But I mean, Cleveland's going to be good. Southeastern's going to be good, because they're used to being good. They kind of know what it takes. Pleasant Valley, me and Coach Nix are good friends. I like what he's doing. I think every year he's right there. He's got a young team, and he'll still be somewhat young, and he does a good job. So, there's somebody I think you need to watch. And then, Coach Mason, the new coach at Holly Pond, he's a good defensive guy. Defense has been a struggle for them, so I would imagine he fixes that. And if he fixes that, they've got enough athletes to where I think they have a shot. So really, I think I don't want to say it's wide open, but I think you've got 5 or 6 teams there that can really jockey for those 4 spots.
Hey, Coach. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I guess my first question is, am I allowed to come to a game this year? Because I remember last year you told me if y'all, I think, lost the Holly Pond game, I wasn't allowed to come back.
Yeah, you've earned at least one more because we were able to sneak that one out.
All right. But I've noticed there's a lot of great things happening in Walnut Grove. Talk to us about the community support at West End.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. I like being at West End because there's high expectations, okay? But with those high expectations comes a community that will really bond behind these kids. I've had it said a few times, the people that are going to boo me the worst sit right behind me. But as soon as somebody from somewhere else says something, they're going to be the first ones ready to fight. So it is a true family dynamic out there. And support's good. We don't really lack for anything. Yeah, we would all like to have more things and more stuff, but a community, it's a hard-working community. I mean, there's nothing that can just be handed to us. And you can see that from what these kids come from, and they bring that same work ethic in every day. But I know the band's growing. We've added cross country, we've added golf, we've added track. So things are happening out there, and with softball doing as well as they did this spring, I just think there's a lot of growth happening in that community.
Coach, August 25th, you have Gales One Coach Knapp coming to visit. What is your number one focus between now and then to get this group ready to go?
Just to make sure we're ready for a physical battle. Say what you will about Galesville at times. I know that for 48 minutes, you're just really going to have your face beat in. And to be honest, that's why I wanted that game at the beginning. I think Coach Knapp does a good job with his kids. He gets the very most out of them. So we've got to make sure that we're ready to play in a physical ball game, that we've conditioned ourselves the right way, because like I said, there's going to be kids that are classified in that Ironman football where they're flipping them around and playing both sides. But we just better make sure we're ready for a fight right out of the gate.
Let me ask the players this, is you guys have gone through the summer and the heat of summer, and I guess practice starts for some next week and the week after. You're with your guys every day. Talk about the attitude of the team. I'm not talking about you three guys, because obviously you're leaders. Coach brought you today. Talk about the attitude of the team and how you guys maybe have had to affect some of that attitude with guys this summer.
Definitely, like with the attitude at practice, with it being hot and low numbers, we're constantly taking more reps than we did last year. So, it's always just having to pep each other up and try to keep everybody on a good attitude.
Yeah, I think it's it's just kids are gonna get down when it's hot and stuff like that, and you kind of got to lead by example, and you just gotta, so they look up to you and see that the heat doesn't affect you. You just going.
Yeah, I do agree. The heat is pretty bad, but when you're here running sprints one after another, you hear guys over in the corner, I don't want to do this. You got to show them. You want to keep doing, keep pushing. So you just got to keep going and show them.
I'm going to ask you guys again, obviously you're leaders. What does it mean to you to be here today to represent your community, your school, the football team, the coaching staff, that Coach Sewell brought you guys today to represent the media for the football team? What does that mean to you personally?
It's definitely an honor, and it's a label that I get to wear on my chest that I don't really deserve. But I'm glad that I was put in a position as the person I am to be able to represent West End today.
No, you do deserve it, Tristan. But it feels good to be a leader, I guess. It feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good to be a leader and represent my own team.
Coach, last year you said 7-3, lost first round of the playoffs, and I know the team has goals, you have goals. It's your third year. You win 4 the first year, you win 7 last year. Can you share with us goals for this year's team for you and your staff?
I guess it better be at least 8. It would be easy to sit down and start looking at the schedule and saying, well, look, these are the ones we got to get. I think we can get these. Here's the number I think we can achieve. And we would be lying if we say we don't do that at times. But my biggest thing is making sure that, because even as the success we had last year, it's still hard to find 10 football games or 11 football games to where I can say on the first whistle to the last buzzer, it was consistent effort, consistent efficiently, mentally, physically. So that's my goal for them, is to learn to compete from that very first whistle to that very last horn. And I've said it before, and maybe it was when I was at Raglan, I can't remember, but that's the wins take care of themselves then. Okay, because then if it's an L that night, I can take it because I know that they were just better than us that night. That's the big, I don't ever want them to be able to walk off a field and say, well, if I had done this, well, let's just get rid of the ifs. Let's just make sure we're consistent through the night, and winning will take care of itself.
I'll ask all of you this. Is it hard not to look ahead? I know you got Galesville that first week, but Susan Moore in that second week, and I know that's a big rivalry game. Is it hard for you guys, for the coaching staff, maybe for the coaching staff it's not, for you guys not to look ahead a little bit?
Look ahead,
Like looking past Galesville to Susan.
Susan Moore's the next. You got Galesville first and Susan Moore, and I know that's got to be a big rivalry game as close as the communities are.
Yeah, we definitely worried about Susan Moore, but we just take it a game at a time. It's just a grind week after week, just trying to win every week. So.
Yeah, it's a big rivalry, but we just look at the games as you just look at the first game you're going to play. We're not really worried about the next game after that. We're just trying to get to the first game and win that game.
Yeah, usually we try to focus on one game at a time. For that week, say Gainesville's for that week, we focus on Gainesville's one. We don't even focus on Sewell until that next day, which is Saturday.
Coach, I have one more. And being a former coach, I got to ask you this. It's the question that probably never is asked to you, but let me know, because it's the most important part of a ball game for me, is how's your kicking game? Because a lot of times at the 3-8 level down, a lot of guys don't have kickers. They don't kick it off. They pooch kick it. Or give us an idea about how your kicking game is going to be.
So last year that was a big thing for us. We were able to kick a few field goals, and we were able to kind of pin teams where we wanted on kickoff possessions. But we'll have to break in a new kicker. We'll have our punter back. The punter's pretty good at being able to flip the field. You also know how it is at this level. We probably don't spend as much time on it as we should. But I think the biggest thing are those 10 gremlins ready to go down there and run down there with reckless abandonment? Because I don't care where he kicks it. If those guys will just get there with bad intentions, then I can live with it.
Coach, guys, thanks for being here today. Good luck as you start the 2023 season against Galesville. Thanks a lot. And y'all have a great season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.